Welcome to the Unstoppable Profit Podcast. This podcast will give independent insurance agents all of the tools to grow your business and live life on your terms. Wherever you are today, if you're starting with nothing or well on your way to the success you desire, with the right people, processes, and promotions in place, you will be unstoppable. And now I'd like to introduce your host, Mike Stromsoe.
When you hear the word automation, what's the first thing that comes to your mind? I think way back when I learned from one of my greatest marketing mentors, if you want to reach 100% of the marketplace, you've got to use 100% of the ways. And then I learned about technology. Then I learned about automation. And then I started learning lessons. And I started saying 4-letter words because stuff wasn't working right with the automation. But then I started meeting the right people and it all came together. We were firing on all cylinders. We were reaching 100% of the marketplace in ways that we wanted to reach them with the right messaging that caused them to contact us, that exercise the definition of marketing, which is if you want to convert the attraction and conversion of your ideal client. The definition of marketing, the attraction and conversion of your ideal client. And the agency started to grow like nobody else's business, and it never stopped. Today, it is my honor and privilege to have one of our greatest supporters of the automation effort for independent insurance agents on the podcast, Mr. Austin Moorhead from Law of Automation. Austin, how you doing?
You're right. I don't know if I deserve that designation, but you're fantastic.
All right, dude, what's up, man?
No, doing good. That was a really nice introduction. Thank you. Right. How could we, impact something so great? It's tough, but, you were talking something about like 4-letter words and lessons and, a bit of a story there and, this transition into, how it goes. And, the cool thing about, most of the process, if you're getting into it is, it's trackable. It's, black and white, it's ones and zeros. And if you can create a really good experience and, at the end of it, everybody understands it, how awesome is automation? How abstract can we make this conversation for a minute,
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah. And so I'm not sure, what we could talk about specifically because the spectrum is so large, right? But for the listeners, maybe like on the fence, it's, how do you see yourself with automation potentially in the future? And I think it's, your team understands the playbooks, the campaigns, the workflows, and to the point that, customers and prospects are responding to the automation in real time. And you're able to make changes to the automation in real time, like, hey, we've been running this word track. And the users kind of like on the front line, your producers, your CSRs, your account managers, like they have a relationship with the CTO or the CMO or the CRM administrator in such a, integral way that they can be calling out subtle adjustments to some of the game plans, the workflows, the campaigns. The agency constantly kind of feels like it's breathing and it's alive with automation cranking out millions of emails and texts in real time. Like how do we get that relationship and that like symbiosis going is kind of the magic, I think.
So let's dive into that. How do we get that going? And, our philosophy is very simple. Excellent people, world-class processes and systems, and then simply promote the heck out of it. And that's why you are such a prime fit for everything about that for an agency business. And many of our members work with you for that exact reason. But doesn't it all start with the people?
It does all start with the people, right? And so with the end of the day, there's a ton of legwork getting, these engines. The CRM is kind of an engine built out. and fine-tuned and, getting the gauges in the right spot to produce the reports that you need. And it's not something that you could do like from scratch without being shown in a year. It could take several potentially. We're just in the fortunate position to be looking at, 1.5, $2 billion in premium across a couple hundred accounts. And we're seeing processes, from, state to state, and they vary, depending on carriers, et cetera. And look at, the challenges with the hard market and how we're rolling and moving stuff, and make prescriptions that work for a variety of scenarios, and then be able to deploy them in a short amount of time. That's really the critical part. It's like, hey, we want to get into this. We want to get into the deep zone. We want to do it tomorrow. We're ready. Like, okay, well, without a company like ours, you could potentially go down that, 2 year, escapade where we try and put in sequential marketing plans into the process and have some success and some failures and learn a lot.
Mhm.
And, go another 2 years and learn a lot more. But then come meet me, 2 years into it and realize there's a lot more still to be learned. And you could have learned all of it in 2 weeks. And it just kind of depends like what plan and path you're looking to go down, the one that has had the lens on, almost million for the last 5 years, or, alone. Sometimes you can find little support groups that'll give you good, tidbits. And sometimes you can make a system very simple, don't need to automate too much, and you're very effective. It just kind of depends on people's, relationship sometimes with technology, those that like live on it versus those that like despise it.
Yeah. Yeah. The agency geographics, demographics, and psychographics are absolutely critical. But back to the people for just a minute. So I also learned from the leadership standpoint of business, period, that people should only be doing the things that only they can do, especially from the leadership chair. So, I mean, if figuring out tech systems and building tech systems and managing and leading them are not a person's area of strength, aka a weakness, or not highest priority, then you should empower and delegate somebody else. So, what
Yeah.
automation is done for the independent insurance agent, you bring both to the table. How long ago did you start your VA arm of your company? Or was that
The
the
VA
beginning of it?
started in September of 2019, a few months after we started the automation company. And it was kind of by accident. The first
Yeah.
automation customer says, hey, I like your team, and could you get me one or two? And now they've
Yeah.
got like 17 with us, and they've been with us for, 5.5 years. And they went from like 8 million to like 53 million in premium in that time. And um, just crazy stuff. And, they were kind of the model that a lot of this got kind of built after. And we've had successes all over the country. And but yeah, people definitely, the VAs, I think we have 326 as of Monday that, help move the needle for these agencies. And, anyway, so we have our blueprints. We empower the virtual assistants overseas. We've got big modules and training camps that they like run through, and so they can be stood up and be effective and help your organization, not only in setting up the technology, but participating in like the day to day.
Right.
And so, like, if you're looking for, running at like the most efficient agency, like we try and solve everything with tech first, then with staff second,
Mm.
overseas staff, and then US staff last, where we have the licenses at. And if you can take those three things and kind of reshape the puzzle, thinking technology first, overseas staff, US licensed staff, and in that order, and then try and rearrange the pieces, you'd end up making a more efficient organization. So we kind of help people go through that experience. Like, hey, we want to do some of these more advanced business operations, such as offshore staff. I need someone to hold my hand through that experience. We're looking to take on technology maybe in the process. Like, it's a big endeavor. It's like, there's checklist to, cross, I's to dot type of thing. So
Well, I wasn't aware of it. You just said something that caught my ear. So I did also hear you say, well, two things. First, you said start with the automation
yeah,
and
yeah.
then add the people, if you will. Figure out which automation you want to,
We put
integrate.
them together usually at the same time, go at the same time.
Got it. Yeah, that's what I've learned. I mean, we're here today because a number of our members I started working with you, and I said, tell me more about that. How's it going? And they started telling me what you were doing for them. And it was that simultaneous integration, if you will.
Yeah.
We selected this piece of technology. Now we need somebody to help us install it. And then once it gets installed the way we want it installed, they're going to help run it. So I don't have to. So I can do the other things that I need to be doing to fuel the business forward. And so that's what you've done. So, but the other thing that I learned was you can help with multiple CRMs as an example. And when we got together recently, you said, yeah, we do them all.
Yeah, 7 or 8 different CRMs I think we're into now.
That's fantastic. So, you can bring the people to the table, you can bring the knowledge and experience getting the CRM set up, which leads to that marketing conversion, which is the definition of marketing, the attraction and conversion of your ideal client.
Yeah, get that front door open is what we always say. Make sure that you've got the lead system and the sales machine running, period, no exception, right? And then, we'll always have funds to solve the service need. So never let the sales engine is the most important part of any business. Get it off the ground. You always have money then.
Right.
To go solve your service needs. And then, you'll realize how much attention you put into service once you've got a big portfolio. It's like we put a lot of resources into even automating that part of the relationship and backstaffing it with offshore staff to make it efficient.
Right. 100% agree. But, one of my big mantras, I guess, if you will, is yes, sales are important, but the wealth of the insurance agency business, the diamond, the shiny diamond, is the existing clients, right?
Yeah.
So we want to make sure we build that in as well to keep as many of them as we can. In today's marketplace with the moving parts, shall we say, that are going on in today's marketplace, that can be a big challenge sometimes. So
the stuff. Yeah. So using people to remarket the accounts at renewal, if you're going to spend 1 to 2 hours looking at these accounts, or I guess the alternative is ignore them. So most people spend the time to look at them, and it's like, are you going to put, US staff and US wages on that, or, overseas staff and wages?
Yeah.
Nice activity. It's like, how do you divide the work up? How do you create the marathon, the relays, and pass that baton back and forth? And we found that the CRM kind of organizes that relationship to kind of prioritize and give everybody, all of your clients, a little bit of attention at renewal versus like, hey, we just don't have enough time. And we had to make hard decisions, and we're just going to ignore like looking at their renewals. Well, with VAs, you can look at the renewals and you can go out to market and actually find homes, and essentially save your customers, potentially from leaving you.
100% agree. So I remember a study a couple of years ago where we evaluated cost per transaction of any process in the insurance agency business. And the number that sticks in my head that I just wrote down is $24.50 across the spectrum.
Sure.
Okay. So when evaluating which person is going to be doing that, and that's the other thing I wanted to get to. I wasn't aware of that until you just said it. You also have access to US based team member. We call them team member staff. Same thing, right?
Yes, employees.
So anyway, awesome. Tell us more about that. I mean, what do you got?
Well, so beyond the CRM, like I think the goal really, let's say you had one deployed, is to get the analytics and the reports out of the tool. Like, how do we build this engine and not have those gauges that are giving us, the data long term? And, maybe how do we not also have a relationship with Austin and his team long term? Because we need someone to be our accountability, kind of coach quarterly, annually, so to speak. And so we've come up with a couple of products. One, we're making these custom dashboards that are integrated with Agency Zoom currently, and we're looking at other CRMs to associate them with in the future. But the reports allow you to, kind of play with the data, see what's important to you. We've got some like EOS modeled, scoreboards that are in there looking at like, your weekly tallies of some of the things that we felt were important, such as like, quoted premium and quote counts and KPI and like leading indicators of activity and things like that. And so, and we value, tallying them, summarizing them weekly, keeping that number, and then running a weekly count so we can see the trend over time. And so we're pulling this data out in a way that we could hopefully give agencies perspective into like what's happening over time. And if they're in the cockpit, so to speak, of like the agency living and breathing day to day, this data speaks back to them and says, oh, we need to get more leads for team member number 2. We can see that there's an opening there and the leads have come down and it looks like we're trending. Oh, what does that need to tell me farther up the pipeline? Oh, we need to get out with our marketing rep. We need to get our Google ads turned on. And these are the conversations I'm learning from reading the data in my scoreboard that of the reports that are built into the agency's integration. And so just little things like that. It's like, what could we do with gauges? So we've got this really cool CRM. It's sending out thousands, of emails and texts. We're, growing our new business revenue better than we ever done before. But like, where are we allocating, our time, attention, our resources to? And like, where are the cracks? Where are the fissures? And so, anyways, yeah. So the dashboards are something that I think is going to be pretty exciting that most people are going to enjoy. Where the plan to release them right now is in the next couple of weeks, we're going to be inviting current members, current Lava. We've got, whatever, a couple hundred customers, and we're going to just internally, I think, just give it out to everybody for free for a period. Maybe see if we can get the bait set a bit. And then eventually, once we get through beta on that, we'll be, opening it up to the market. But one of the things that we learned early on from the core group was that when we share data between the agencies, there was a little bit of competition that started among the team members. They, kind of jokingly and joyfully wanted to beat, other agencies that were associated with us. And so we would pull these reports manually and share like lead counts and, call counts and things that producers do on a broader spectrum. So they weren't just looking inside their agencies. The people that wanted to win could play in a bigger league, essentially, is what we did. And we all of a sudden we saw people going from like writing 30,000 a month to 120,000 a month in personal lines premium, right? Not commercial premium where, one account's a 250,000. It's personal lines premium where the average account size is like 3 to 4K or something like that.
Right.
And they're doing 100K and, new business premium. Like, who does that? And so the idea is that these dashboards will try and create some of that for the people that want to win. Like, how do they compare themselves to the other people in our user group? So anyways, yeah, so that's one of the ways that we're trying to continue to kind of like bend the agency a bit here for other people to kind of enjoy.
That is absolutely fantastic. That's something else new that you have going on. And I don't know how much you want to talk about it, but I know you've got other beta opportunities going on that to further support the independent insurance agent and what they're trying to accomplish. So you want to touch on that?
Yeah, I mean, if you don't mind, yeah, we've got another tool we've been working on for a few years. It's called TurboDial. It's a VoIP solution. It currently connects with Keep. It's the CRM that I kind of got my start with, I guess, if you would say, like, also when you first got into the space, like what were you building your organizations on top of? It was Keep. And one of the reasons that we went there was because it had a native integration with this phone called TurboDial. And at the time, you couldn't get integrations with your AMS and your CRM. So let's integrate something else, because we find that that's a winning strategy. And so as we integrate with TurboDial, TurboDial today has something like 400 customers, I think 1,500 users exclusive to Keep. And we're like, well, and I'm not when I first reached out to these guys, I'm just a user of the thing. But over the years, we've ended up kind of partnering a bit. And, I was a big reseller of it. And now I'm a part owner of it. And the ideas and I've been swaying the development team for a few years. And so we've been silently working on an agency Zoom integration. And we've got about 50 users on the platform right now that are just in beta, and we're going through the bugs. There's bugs, and we're going through the bugs and just kind of working those out. But hopefully here pretty soon we'll have an agency Zoom integrated dialer that rivals what we did on Keep. Keep was rad, and we still use it today in my current organization. It's
right.
It's got 500 deep, unique little integrations to the CRM. Every little thing that you want it to do, it does.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's coming out here pretty soon. Looking forward to that. Just having another thing that we can offer agencies that, and I think the deep integration kind of shows, how we value the industry. Like, it's not just a phone. It will talk to your technology. It will do things that other integrated tech isn't doing. It already is doing things
Right.
other integrated tech isn't doing. So like, I listen to the pain point of the insurance agencies, and it's like, how can we bring that back to them and make, and the goal really always is make the end user, the agent, the CSR's life easier, right? If
Mm,
they can do more of an activity, or if it's not as intrusive, or if there's less clicks involved, like that experience is gonna be delightful. And then that usually trickles up. They're the ones that are using the equipment, like make it fun for them.
yeah. And that was one of many, many reasons that we recently connected was the keep aspect, because frankly, that's who we use. And we wanted to get up to date on that and some other things. And we've been chasing each other for a while, and we jumped on a session. And I found out how much you're currently doing. And I said, oh, I need to make sure we get him on the podcast so he can share what he's up to. And kudos to you, man, for all that you've
Yeah,
done.
no, it's all hands on deck around here, kind of
Yeah.
all the time. And we've got to think that it's me. It's not me anymore. It's my team. Or I've got this massive team that, sales and service and administration that are communicating around the clock to keep this operation kind of like going. And we're 100% remote, and so I think either we've got this really beautiful community in my company because of like how well we relate to each other in this complete independence, and time again we show it for each other, and it's kind of fun to watch. So I'm honored to be in that position.
Independence for the independence. I love
Yeah.
that. And autonomy and transparency and all that is what I'm hearing. But I bet when you get out of bed in the morning, you never know what you're going to encounter sometimes, or whenever you decide to get out of bed, period.
Yeah, with 326 staff in the Philippines, everyone's got a different personality,
Mhm.
and everyone's going through different life experiences, and
Yeah.
you're going to hear something every single day. And then, on the other side, having 200 customers in the States, it's like, and then how do you blend it all together? And I'm somehow in the middle when it trickles up.
Well, my outside opinion is leadership and training. And it's something that I sing from the mountaintops all the time. I observe it in business, period, across the spectrum. Leadership and training is something that we've got to continue to work on, leadership and training all of the time. And obviously, you've done that well because you wouldn't have what you have. I couldn't agree with you more. It is all about the team. Together, everybody achieves more. So you are a key team player for many agents out there. I heard you mention a couple hundred, which is fantastic. But for everybody out there, we got going so fast out of this podcast. I'm here with Austin Moorhead from Lava Automation. So anyway, and he's sharing the goods about independent insurance agency operations, whether it be people, meaning VAs or US based team members. He can help with that. Whether it's a CRM, he's got knowledge about all the CRMs. He can help with that. Whether it's about phone systems and turbo dials and all that in conjunction with everything going on, he can help with that. I'm sure he's got integration knowledge on all the agency management systems. They can help with that. And they support your operation so that you can continue to do exactly what we teach, grow your business, create wealth, and have more freedom. And I learned about it as some of our members are doing great things because of the work of the Lava Automation team. Austin, before I forget, so we can repeat this at least twice. So if somebody's hearing something and they want to learn more, how can they contact your team?
Well, the best way is to go onto the website and book a demo to meet with one of my sales reps.
Yep.
The website is www.lavaautomation.com.
Right.
And somewhere on there, there's a calendar.
It's down towards the bottom. I'm looking at it right now. So it's loveautomation.com. There's a calendar. There's a big red button in the top right that says book now. So
Yeah, get on there, and then what you're going to get is an email inviting you to the event, plus an email asking you to fill out a pre-demo intake form. It helps us kind of get ready for your meeting.
Right, right. So you'll jump on and have a conversation and see if it might be a good idea to further that or not, and we'll all go on from there.
Awesome. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. That's the best way. Or come
yeah.
come see
So
us at a conference hopefully this year. We're going to be at most of them.
fantastic. Yeah, I know that was big on your calendar this year, and we're excited to have you as well later on this year. But let's talk more about helping agents. And I love get the front door open. I love that statement. So um, whether it be sales, which is getting clients, or service, which is keeping clients, you can help with that. Where's the future? I mean, let's forecast into the future. What's the future in the next, in based on everything you're working on? I'm sure you have a vision for your company that you've built to an incredible level so far. What does the next 1, 2, 3 years hold for the industry based on the things that you're playing in right now?
I think we're gonna see still, like, quite a bit of, reshaping with the technology, communicating better. I mean, AI is coming, and so it's like, is it gonna be doing some maybe of the VA's work, and VA's gonna be managing the AI? I mean, this some of the stuff that we're for forecasting, 5, 10 years into the future.
I think
Uh
that's too far. That's not realistic, right?
Yeah, it's hard to tell, but what does look like really, like the inevitable next 1 to 2 years is like agencies are, if you're not in the offshore staff game, like you're falling behind because of the margins at this point. And agencies are probably outgrowing you at a rapid rate because they're shifting their money from one spot to the next.
Yeah.
You have a big payroll line item on your P&Ls and they've got a big marketing budget. And it's like, what do you want?
Yeah.
So it's like, look at your P&Ls and get them in line. You'll say, hey, go out and do like best practices based off of, I don't know, there's some insurance ones. And I'm like, shift a couple points down to marketing. And I always say, if your agency is growing, build a growth modeled agency, reinvest or double invest or triple invest or quadruple invest into your leads. And if you do that right now for the next, 2 to 5 years, you'll have a bigger agency than anybody else. And everyone's always like, "Hey, what's the secret about your big agencies?" The secret about the big agencies is they spend money on marketing, a lot of money on marketing. They've got a sales engine, a big sales engine, and it's got reports and they can measure it and they can calculate whether or not it's profitable. And once you can build an engine that's profitable on, lead acquisition, the question you have to ask yourself is why wouldn't you? Like, well, why turn it off? It's working and it's generating a profit. And so teaching agencies to see this is something that we do. It's like, hey, how quickly can we get you outside of the referral game? Because that's referrals are great, but the problem is your goals often exceed your referrals every month. And it's like, how do you get to your first $250,000 month?
Mhm.
You just started 5 years ago and you're struggling to get past 100K. How do you get to 300K a month? And we always recommend getting leads. Any agency that does that and figures out the lead game puts their agency in control of their growth. Um, yeah,
100% agree.
that and the other ways I think we can help agencies out is, from the service perspective. I think I see CSR sometimes, they love to be consistent in how they're documenting stuff. They don't like learning new systems. I think they're the ones kind of going through a lot of change right now across the industry. We're seeing them kind of impacted the most. It's like disruption after disruption. So it's like, how do you love on your team if you're about to go into one of these disruptions? Like, how do you prep them, hold their hands, and like, what type of service do you provide your team, like in the moment when things are getting chaotic during this transition period? Are you there for them? And do you have a plan? Is there someone that you can reach out to, or are you kind of winging it? I think, do you show up for your team is pretty important. We're seeing a lot of agencies make transition in their software and their AMSs and their CRMs, or they're adding these things maybe for the first time. And some agency owners are, more, kind of available than others, or, maybe looking forward to doing some of the extracurricular work than others. And you can see how that trickles into the team. So,
Yeah. You just said so many things that I want to just quickly unpack. And thank you for that, by the way. I mean, I happen to know that there are agency entrepreneurs listening to this or watching this who have fallen behind in the automation game, and they just can't seem to get their minds around taking those steps forward, maybe bringing on a VA, maybe doubling or tripling down on the marketing to combine all of those into one statement. What would you say to those? You said it to those people, but what might help them with that mind shift other than the fact that they know they're falling behind? Anything?
I think you have to have a bigger dream. I think sometimes, and it has to be really, really vivid, keep dreaming, I think. I remember when I first got started in the insurance space, the guy who was going to become my sales leader used to come down and ask us about our dreams. And, of course, that was a long time ago and the dream has changed and hopefully most people's do a little bit. But I remember kind of thinking about that thought a lot over, the last, whatever, 8 years or so, and, how important it is to at least have a dream. I meet some people sometimes, and they're not really clear about, like, what their goals are and what's important to them. It's like, could you get clear on that? And then I guess maybe are you willing to do the things others aren't to achieve them? But maybe it's just because your dream isn't clear. I don't know. How do you motivate someone to do something they don't wanna do? It's obvious, just do it, just do more of it, do unlimited. I don't know.
I couldn't be happier that that was your answer. That was fantastic. And I'm looking at I have two dreams and I'm looking at them right here.
Okay.
I have a personal and a professional dream. And I know what they are and I look at them all the time and I repeat them all the time and I read them all the time just to reset them in my mind. But, I'm thinking about one of our members who previously was in that boat, but to commend her, she stepped up and did it. And to your point, that was part of it. Because I said to her, let's dream a little bit. Let's talk about where you want to be in the future. If you want to put a time frame on it, like 3 years from now, great. Where do you want to be? And she went back.
Happening to all of us. We're going to be there, right? With tomorrow's coming.
It's 100%.
Yeah. Where do you want to be when we're there?
That's right. And she sent me an email with exactly where she wanted to be. And I said, boom, now we can go get it. Because knowing your destination is all you need to get there, right?
Yeah. Tomorrow's coming. And if you don't have a little bit of a plan, you might not get tomorrow, looking the way you are. It might be a little more banged up. You might be in a little more of a financial problem. You might have some weird, relationship drama, like have a plan, be organized, be in front of it, and you'll get there. But you got to paint it first. Got to paint that dream.
So I did also hear you clearly. I learned to read my P&L and to review my P&L on a monthly basis and to spend a quiet 5 or 10 minutes with it just to understand where my business was at. Yeah. But percentage invested in marketing, percentage reinvested in marketing, better said.
Sure.
You have a number?
Max it out. Can we get it to 15%?
Right. I know agencies who are north of 20.
Yeah. So my loose rule when it comes to marketing is, especially in insurance, if you'd like pull up a spreadsheet and do like a little bit of a formula, let's say you spent 90 cents you spent $1 and you made 90 cents back on a lead. Would you do it? Yes or no? I would. Especially in the insurance game, knowing that we're going to potentially have this customer for 5 years. Right. And so you start doing, the math on it, spend $1, make 90 cents back times 1,000. So, and then put a retention rate on it of whatever, 85%. That dollar turns into, $30 in a few years. And before you know it, and one of the intangibles about this model is all the referrals that you don't see that come out of it. So this is worst case scenario. You spend $1, you make 90 cents back. But we've got lead sources out there. You spend $1, you make $1.50 back. You spend $1, you make $2 back. And so it's like people just aren't turning on the lead source part of their agency, the lead game, and that engine that literally drives revenue that you can watch the money go in and watch it come out bigger.
Yep.
Sorry, I don't know where I was going with that, but you need to be there.
No particular direction, but I could not agree with you more. You need to be there. And I know in our agency, we knew that it took us 1.4 years to get a return on that investment. But we also knew that in the longer game, we would do an 8-to-1 return on some of our investments or more. Yeah. And that doesn't including the leverage that we've got. My law of 100, if you've got 800 customers and they all know 100 other people, that's 80,000 opportunities.
remember where I was going. So, spend, I was like 15% of your P&L as a marketing budget. The loose rule is spend until you don't get back the return on investment that you're happy with. And if you have another dollar and you've got a team member with a free hour and you can get a lead to put in their lap, do it, right? Like spend 50% of your budget if you can work it. There shouldn't be an upper limit. It should be breathable. Right.
Yeah.
And so every penny goes into marketing when the ROI is satisfactory, in my opinion.
100% agree. So that is why Austin Moorhead from Lava Automation is who he is. He is on it. He understands what he's helping independent insurance agents deliver and install in their agencies. And he's got the people, he's got the automation knowledge and the automation tools, whether it be, CRM, phone systems, and so much more that he's developing that we probably didn't get to today. But, Austin, that works in Portland, Oregon or Miami, Florida, right?
Yeah, anywhere. It's all over.
Yeah, it's all over. And so it is a worldwide global market nowadays. And we are super pumped and excited, and workplace as well. And you talked about your team that's a global team as well. So thank you. Thank you for all that you're doing. It is a privilege and an honor to spend some time with you today, just to learn how to help agents. And if I may take the lead, do you mind?
Yeah, thank you, Mike, for having me. Yeah.
Just to reiterate, if you didn't catch it earlier, just go to, and you want to learn more about what Austin and the team are doing and maybe do a demo and just learn more about how they may or may not be able to help you, just go to lavaautomation.com, LAVA automation.com. Scroll down to the bottom. There's a calendar. There's a big red button. It says book now. You can book a free demo. No obligation. Just have a conversation about what they have knowledge about. He's working on new products, dashboards for automation tools that will help you keep your finger on the pulse. Numbers don't lie, right?
You don't lie. Yeah, what gets measured gets improved.
And we didn't get to this before we started today. I just got off with an agent who also told me this. He said he picked that up out of a book, and he's got numbers don't lie in his head, which is one of our KPI tools that we bang into their heads. Man, you got to know your numbers. He said, words talk, but numbers scream. And he goes, when I read that in the book, I thought of you because you beat into our heads the numbers don't lie. I said, yeah, but words talk and numbers scream.
Yeah, that's right.
Kudos to him. And that's why he has achieved what he's achieved. So Austin Moorhead, thank you, man. I can't wait to catch up more soon. Thanks for all you're doing, and good luck, and just keep fighting the good fight. And I never answered your comment earlier. What helps you fight through that suck?
Yeah.
The why, right?
Yeah, it's the why. It's got to be the dream.
When your why becomes big enough, your how becomes easy.
Yeah.
So I know you've got a big why, and I know you got big dreams, and you are doing it. Thank you for all you're doing.
Thank you, Mike. Appreciate it. Hope everybody has a great day. And I always tell everyone, let's dig in. Let's get to work. So
let's dig in. Let's get to work. I love that. All right. Before you get to work, I just wanted to say, if this is your first time on the podcast, thank you. And if this is not your first time, thank you. If you are the first time on the podcast, my name is Mike Stromsoe. I'm widely recognized as a leading author, speaker, and coach for the independent insurance agency industry. You can learn more about what we do at upplife.com. That's UPP, Paul, LIF, like Frankie, upplife.com. That's what our agents are living. Once they get all this installed, they get to live the UPP life. Over 35 years, we built independent insurance agency business, and we now teach everything that we did in the agency business so that agencies can grow their business, create wealth, and have more freedom. And if you got great information off this podcast episode today, we would super appreciate you sharing our podcast link with anybody you know. Just share unstoppableprofitpodcast.com with anybody you know so you can help them also learn all the great things that are happening, and bigger than that, the opportunities they have before them as an independent insurance agent in today's world. So we're super pumped and excited about the future. Please share that. And when you do, encourage them to go up to the top, unstoppableprofitpodcast.com, click subscribe. so they don't miss one valuable episode of everything that we can bring to the table to help them grow their business, create wealth, and have more freedom. Austin, again, thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mike.
All right. What's that other thing you said about the work at the very end?
So let's get to work.
Let's get to work.
Let's get to work.
Let's get to work. I agree. As we wrapped up today, that's a great ending statement. Let's get to work and get that front door open.
Love it.
Love those two mic drops. Thank you, Austin. All right, everybody, let's get to work and get that front door open. I'll see you in the next episode.
Do you love the podcast but don't know where or how to get started? Visit www.upplife.com. That's UPPLIFE.com to learn more about our coaching and mastermind programs and how you can join our community of growth-oriented agency owners today.